Reef Beef with Ben and Rich. This is a great podcast show. We also have Humble Fish, everything you need to know about quarantining fish. Ready to go?
Ready to go.
Episode 15. Oh, sorry. Do you see yourself there, Kevin? Very good.
You never put that on the other one.
What's that? Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
It's working.
It's working.
All right.
So we're going to talk about, for the next 4 episodes, we're going to talk about picking up fish, buying fish, quarantine fish,
all that kind of stuff.
All that jazz. It's getting more popular. I was kind of like the first one to start this, and everyone is trying to follow suit.
Well, it's good to quarantine your fish.
Yes, it is good to quarantine.
Everybody, like, even who you're buying them from, if you're buying from somebody off Kijiji, if you're buying them from,
wherever, local fish store to local hobbyists.
Right.
Yeah.
Always should quarantine it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
It's a good practice, and it's a practice that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah. It only takes one fish to screw up a
whole system.
And
that's the thing. What people don't understand is like, okay, fresh water, salt water. You got an ocean, you got a lake, or you got a river. There's a big volume of water compared to a tank where it's closed.
Yeah.
So if the fish is sick, well, it's going to stay in that system.
Yeah.
If you're in the ocean, well, the current is going to take away the ick away or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to stay in that little.
The
bucket.
thing is, there was somebody over at my house the other day, and they were looking at my tank, and I have quite a few fish in there, and to risk it by adding one fish from someplace I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I put them in there. It's not the one fish that bothers me if it goes, but it's what it gives to all the other fish that I've had for years.
Yeah.
That is the biggest part, right?
Yeah.
So how do we do it so we don't have to worry about that?
Well, the first thing you need to do is like when you go shopping, you know what I mean. You gotta do your research if you're buying from a local hobbyist or a local fish store. You need to do your research when you go there to purchase a fish. You need to examine the fish. That spontaneous buy. I want him. Bag it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's bad shopping.
Yeah. Well, you should always see the fish eating.
Eating and how he's behaving in the tank.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
what his color looks like,
exactly, and the thing is like, is if you notice the fish they call it flashing, where he's like rubbing himself on the bottom of the tank or on an ornament or on a rock or whatever, he has something on him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. When Bass Pro gave me the course to do their tank, they said go get a fish. Just go anywhere. Just go get a fish. When they were teaching me how to do biopsies. So okay, go to and she, like she said, she goes 90% of the time, fish has something on them. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? And we did biopsies on them. I was like, oh my god, really? Wow. So there's a good chance that fish is carrying something. Yeah. Now you need to understand that is if the fish is stressed, and all fish have like a slime coat on them. So if the fish is stressed, they lose that slime coat. So that's when people say, "Oh, I bought this. All my fish were doing fine. It came in, blah 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 blah." And that's because they probably got stressed. They lost their slime coat. It's like a protective, like a wax job on your car, and it takes over.
Yeah.
So, and sometimes when people, I had ick and it disappeared. It's gone now. That's probably because the fish redid his slime coat but it's still in your system.
Well,
so every time you add something in there, it comes up.
You can in fresh water is a little more forgiving for that because we crank up the heat and it kills off that cycle, right? So
salt water is totally.
Salt water is a lot more challenging to get rid of all the eggs and all the other stuff.
The tomox and that, yeah. So that's one thing you need to be careful when you're buying fish. Now there's stores that say, oh, we know what, we quarantine them. Oh, we quarantined for a week. We quarantined for 2 weeks. That's what I just look. Yeah. You can't tell in the week or 2 weeks. The 40 days is the number. Quarantine in French, 40 is 40.
Yeah.
So it's kind of 40 days. That way they're not. It's a long time. 40 days is a long time. But during that 40 days, you'll see if something comes up.
Yeah.
And for us, we do biopsies. We treat them external and internal. like for you to, like you say, you know what, everyone should have a quarantine tank. Yeah, great, perfect. But it's like you're putting it in the tank and just like hope for the best, right? Is he gonna? At least he's not infecting your system.
Right.
If you see he's sick, okay, whew, thank God. You know what? I didn't infect my system. But you put him in quarantine. What are you gonna do? Where are you gonna put meds? How are you gonna put the meds? Like your quarantine tank needs to be just a glass tank.
Yeah.
It can't be a full with
No, it can't be an
with
aquarium.
substrate
No,
and stuff like that. No, it
it's
can't
a-
be.
Yeah.
So
So we use PC pipe and, you know.
yeah, he needs to hide. Yeah, because
Other than that, it's a bare tank.
something where you're able to, because usually after quarantine, you clean out that system. You drain it, you wipe it down,
Javex it. And
Javix it, yeah, whatever, acid it. Then, you know, like all of our buckets or bins that we use to acclimate our fish, what do? We acid wash them, just to make sure there's nothing on it for the next batch that comes in.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like people need to understand also is like the acclimating part. Like a lot of people, like how many people come in here and is like, what, acclimate?
Yeah.
We get that a lot, and it's like, yeah, you need to match. You need to match the water, your tank water to his water slowly. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're buying a fish from a local fish store, pH and all that is not going to fluctuate. You go to your fish store and say, what's the salinity in that tank, first of all, and so you match. You say, okay, you know what? I'm at 1.026. At the store is at 20. Okay, ooh, that's a big jump. So it's harder on the fish going up than going down. So every 2 points takes an hour of acclimation. Like when we bring our fish in here, we acclimate them over 24 hours. Because there's a lot of like the saltwater fish, they come in at a very low salinity. So that's why when I saw a post the other day, was somebody says, oh yeah, I just when the store receives the fish in the box, the owner lets me take it right out of the box. That is like number one no to do, unless you're very good at
quarantining.
quarantining and doing your acclimation properly. But most people don't know that. They don't know that most distributors, or if you buy direct, the salinity is really low, like at 1.016 to 1.018.
Yeah.
So you're trying to introduce that to a system that's 0.25, 26. And for freshwater, it's the pH. Like when we get our fish from pH, like their last order from Singapore, you know, the pH was like what, 7.2, and we're trying to acclimate them to 8.2.
Yeah.
And if you do it too fast,
Yeah.
it's gone.
You're
And the
shocking.
water, when you like, and that's another thing I want to explain is that if you're ordering, like I say, you order from the local fish store, it's not that much of a big deal acclimate. But if you order online, it comes from Vancouver down to the east. Listen, the plane leaves at 6 o'clock. They didn't pack that at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have to bring it like 4 hours before the flight, and they probably packed it like the day before, the night before. Like when we order from the Caribbean, they ship it on Thursdays. It's all packed on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So the fish are in that bag for a long time. They're in the darkness for a very long time. They're pooping in that water. So it's creating pneumonia in the tank. The pH is really low. So you need to, what we do is when we acclimate them for fresh or salt, or acclimation bucket. So if I notice pH is 7, mine is 8, I need to drop this to 7. Because what I want to do is flush that gucky water as fast as I can, but I can't do it at 8. I need to do it at 7 so I can flush that out, and they're back at a water that's non-toxic, where the pH is where it was. Then after that, we acclimate again with a higher pH at a very slow drip rate to bring that pH up.
Yep.
I talked a lot there.
Yeah, you're getting tight on time.
Yeah, getting tight on time. Another thing right here, it gives me the chills when I see that people float bags. You need to understand that if you go to your fish store, you go to your local hobbyist, and he's taking a bag, goes in the aquarium like this, picks up the water out of the bag like that. Well, if his tank is infected, the water that's around the bag can contaminate your tank. So you're doing the cross contamination. So we never float our bags. The only time we float our bags is when we get tank raised stuff.
Yeah.
That way there I know, because how many times have we opened a box, there's water in the box.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Then you're taking that and you're cross contaminating your tank. So you gotta be careful that never float I always drip first. If you really want to float, ask your local fish store or whatever, get another bag, put them in another bag, put them in a Ziploc bag, whatever it is, where you know it's not contaminated, and float them this way.
Yeah.
And what's happening if you're floating him at first, then you're dripping him. Well, guess what? That water that he's dripping in drop temperature, unless you put a heater or something like that.
Yeah.
Then you're throwing him in the tank. Well, the first level of temperature acclimation, you just I almost said a bad word there.
Yeah.
You just screwed it up because
Yeah.
the temperature dropped. Now, unless you want to put a small heater in there, etc., etc., but you're better off dripping it first, taking it, put them into a new bag, and float them, or throw a heater in there.
Yeah.
And don't take the heater from your tank,
Yeah.
because then you're cross-contaminated again. So get yourself a small little heater if you have a bucket, like a 25 watt, ding, ding,
Yeah.
and throw it in there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay. We're gonna close this up because you're waiting too long.
yeah. I don't know how long. We didn't time it. So
Thanks for
yeah.
watching.
Okay, good. Because I can talk a lot.
Cut that one right off.
Well, it's kind of important. Like seriously.
Well, it is, but now you can do a follow-up on the
Yeah.
on the next video. If you missed any of these, we can
We
put
can put it in there.
yeah.
So